end this afternoon, and we're delighted to talk about the special relationship between the German government and the government of Brazil and the two countries to talk about the important part of the Earth's lungs, the Amazon. So with that, let me pass it over to our moderator, Rodrigo. Adelante. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, everybody. And just a second. So, firstly, I'd like to welcome all for this panel, and thank you for the people interested in our panel. And I'd like to thank IICA for hosting us and contribute for this moment. This is a panel to the launch of the Transparency and Sustainability in Supply Chains in the Amazon project. It's a cooperation project between Brazil and Germany. And this project is based in Rondônia state. It's a state in north of Brazil. And we're trying to enforce, and not to enforce, but to enhance the transparency and sustainability in these value chains in the Amazon. This project is part of a bigger public policy, Amazon More Sustainable. That's a public policy built up with the participation of the states, NGOs, rural communities, and other federal departments. And the goal is addressing the main challenge that we have in sustainability in the Amazon. It's important to consider that Brazilian Amazon is a vast and diverse ecosystem. It's not just a forest. And we have forests, of course, but we also have rural communities, people and peoples. We have cities, savannas, and other kinds of ecosystems that must have a different perspective and different vision for each one of them. This project is committed to advance sustainability in transparency in the agriculture sector and agricultural chains in the Amazon biome, and is focused in three key areas that are enhance public level sustainability and transparency policies, implement instruments to improve sustainability and transparency within production chains, with initial emphasis on the pilot region, that is Porto Velho and region in Rondônia state, and boosting communication and knowledge management to facilitate the adoption of these instruments. So it's an honor being here in the launch of this project, which we have working for almost 2 years, and we know how important to implement this kind of project in that region, especially because it's a very sensible region. You know the impact of climate change, especially in South America and Latin America as a continent. So I would like to introduce our speakers. So firstly, we have my colleague from the Ministry of Agriculture, Alessandro Crovinel. He's the Director of Innovation in the Secretary of Development Innovation in the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock of Brazil. Second, we have Mr. Dirk Meyer, Head of Division Multilateral Development Policy, Transformation and Climate at the Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, BMZ. Our third speaker is my colleague from Brazil, Mr. Mario Latz. She's connected by virtual, and she's a project director in the Deutsche Gesellschaft für internationale Zusammenarbeit, GIZ. I hope my German didn't sound as bad as my English. So, our fourth speaker is another colleague from Brazil who I admire, Mr. Marcelo Brito, Executive Secretary of the Interstate Consortium for Sustainable Development of the Legal Amazon. That's a forum with the 9 states for the Amazon, not just the biome, but the compound, the legal concept of the Amazon. And to finish our panel, I'd like to present Mr. Giovanni Max Rosa, Coordinator of Rural Environmental Monitoring and Regulation at the State Secretariat for Environmental Development, SEDA, in the state of Rondônia. So, firstly, I'd like to ask for my colleague, Alessandro, about the ministry perspective as a state responsible for the public policy, how we can, as a government, contribute to promoting sustainable agriculture in the Amazon biome, how does it specifically enhance the quality of life for residents, people that live in that biome, and they need our look for them, our perspective on them, and the residents of the region, and facilitate adaptation to climate change in agricultural production in the Amazon.
Okay, thank you, Rodrigo. Dear authorities, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to be here, Rodrigo. Lloyd, thank you very much to receive us here in your home. So thank you. ICA, of course, it's a very important partner for Brazil. We have a lot of initiatives together with ICA, and thank you very much. So, well, I think we can, I will talk a little bit about the more sustainable Amazon plan, Rodrigo. That is the umbrella that we have also this project inside. To give an example of how we are doing this policy in action, transforming this policy in a real action. This policy, it was designed to promote sustainable agriculture in the Amazon biome. So you can imagine what is the challenge to work with Amazon. Marcelo Brito, my colleague, is here, and he will talk a little bit more about that. And as you know, Amazon is it's almost another continent. So the challenges are huge. And also I will try to answer how does it will improve the life quality of the residents, especially for the rural areas, and support also the adaptation and agricultural production. Well, so a public policy designed by the Ministry of Agriculture to be effective needs to have the engagement of the subnational structures. Otherwise, if we are in Brasilia, Rodrigo, trying to make a policy, it wouldn't work. And especially when we are talking about the Amazon biome. This project, the More Sustainable Amazon Plan, is designed with the engagement of all the legal Amazon states, but how does we build this? First of all, in Brazil, we have the Interstate Consortium for Sustainable Development and Legal Amazon. So the consortium has the 9 states, that Rodrigo said. I will nominate them. We have Acre, Amapá, Amazonas, Maranhão, Mato Grosso, Pará, Rondônia, Roraima, and Tocantins. So it's huge. And at the same time that it's a huge challenge, but also it helps to implement a regional policy in Amazon, as we can have the support of the consortium. So I would like to say thank you, Marcelo Brito. Thank you very much for the partnership and all the support that the consortium is giving for us to make this policy move forward. So the approach was based on the territory. So how are we doing this in the practice? We are based in the territory, and I will explain how convert a plan in real action. First of all, we define the territories and the production chains that we would like to have more focus. And we developed workshops with the 9 states, with the stakeholders. And the example, for example, we selected some production chains like livestock. This project is focused on livestock, but we have other projects focused on other crops and other supply chains like beekeeping, aquaculture, fishing, cocoa, coffee, fruits, forest products in general, as Brazilian nuts, açaí, and pupunha. So you know that we have 20% of the Brazilian biodiversity, so the opportunities are huge, but of course, the supply chains that are already prepared to have this support are the ones that we selected to work in this project. So after that, we decide a project portfolio. So listen for the local guys, the local stakeholders to understand what would be the best projects that we could improve in the regions. So we have a project portfolio to be submitted for investors and governments, etc. In this project, transparency and sustainability, as we will be presented, it was selected in this way. And so I would like to say thank you also for the Germany government and BMZ, GNZ, that are supporting us here in this project. So thank you very much also for the partnership. So as important as the project portfolio, also it's important the actors matrix, because of course we need to know with who are we going to work. So we also in the workshops, we develop the actors matrix to understand who are the players, who are in the ground, with who are we going to work together to develop this plan. Another very important strategy is the governance. So as you know, Brazil, we has a huge low carbon agriculture plan, the ABC Plus plan, and we have the luck to already have the state governance, the governance in the states with stakeholders, and what we are planning to do and we will do is to use with the more sustainable Amazon, we are going to use the same governance of the ABC plan. So the actors are the same, so we are going to, as we already have this governance, we are going to improve these initiatives inside the governance that is already established. So Rodrigo, as you asked me regarding life quality of the communities and sustainability, so those are short words, but the pathway to reach these results is complex and demand a lot of strategy, investments, collaboration like we are doing here. As we have here to the support from BMZ, GAZ, and the Amazon Consortium. Well, guys, so I'm sure that the more sustainable Amazon plan is an excellent example of hands-on and real action for adaptation and to reduce deforestation in this huge and important biome. And we guess to report to you the excellent results that this policy will bring as soon as possible. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Alessandro. So let's continue. I would like to say thank you for Mr. Dirk Meyer. He represented the German government and the BMZ, the Ministry of Economic and Cooperation. This is one of our cooperation projects. We have others, and we are discussing others for the future. And to you, I'd like to ask, I know you have your speech, but how German cooperation contribute to the fulfillment of Paris Agreement objectives in developing countries, particularly in the context of the Amazon? And what role do developed countries play in supporting climate adaptation efforts in this region? So it's a trick question.
Very thank you very much. These questions are tough questions, of course. Well, first of all, to start, I mean, especially when it comes to the cooperation between Brazil and Germany, this is a very long-standing cooperation, 60 years now. The next round of government negotiations are getting to start, I think tomorrow or the day after. Huh? Are they already? Yes, I know that, yes. This is still continuing, exactly, and even this project was a result of the cooperation. So it's long-standing. It has a lot of projects, and the best, of course, is if it has the same ideas. So the first thing about everything is finding a common ground. And when it comes to the Amazon, finding and trying to find out, do we have a common ground, and where is the common ground, and where are maybe conflicts where we have to talk about. And you know that we have different bilateral projects like these, but on the other hand, we also have development policies we are doing together between not just Brazil, but the whole Amazon region and Germany, and try to find out, for instance, big projects which we try to co-finance when it comes to the Inter-American Regional Development Bank. We are working together when it comes to processes, for instance, in the context of G20. And Brazil will have a very strong role next year in the presidency of the G20. We are partners in many international treaties, and we found this common ground to say, as you mentioned, Amazon is even the sixth continent on the globe. We know it's a treasure, a biodiversity treasure, but also is a ground for economic growth for Brazil. So how do we manage it, and trying to find out where is transparency in the value chains? How do we get sustainability in the value chains? That's also a common ground, and the projects and the support we can give is normally partner-driven. So as you try to find out what is happening on the ground, as you mentioned, subnational region, doing workshops, finding out, that's the way we work together when it comes to the Amazon region. And overall, the second question, what can we do when it comes to adaptation? I think there is one truth. I come from different financial side events at the moment, to know that when it comes to mitigation, we are all sure that we have to get much more private sector into it. We all know that the SDGs will only work and will come on track when in many SDGs we develop business models for that. And with sustainable finance instruments, we can give the right framework for that. When it comes to adaptation, there will probably be a very small number where we'll find business models. And therefore, we probably need a very, very strong common joint efforts. Of course, being represented of the global north, we have to do a lot more than developing countries. But on the other hand, when we look, for instance, at the Global Shield, we just attended the meeting with the minister. When it comes to the most vulnerable countries, of course, we have to develop methods for resilience. That is coming to insurances, that is funds that are able to develop money before droughts and floods are coming up, when the damage is actually taking place. And when we talk about resilience aspects when it comes to social protection, things like that. And there, of course, we have to do also from Germany a continuous financial contribution to support this. And after all, last sentence, as you mentioned it, everything we agree on has to have the ownership on the ground, on the people. If we try to impose something, there is no solution for that. Right. And when we have conflict topics, like different opinions maybe on the due diligence from the Europeans on the value chains and the deforestation, then we have to talk about it and try to find solutions for the conflicts we have in that. So that's a bit a broader answer, but it shows a bit the complex topic, I think, of development policy and the topic of how to support when it comes to Amazon and when it comes to the support Brazil in special.
Thank you very much. Not just for the support, financial support, but I think this partnership is a long partnership, and we have a lot of important work in the field that we can see the results, and we know that we have much more to do, but I think we already achieved like a big result, especially in the Amazon.
Yes, this is a strong partnership.
Yeah, and very important, especially for the region. So thank you very much, Mr. Dirk. So let's continue with my colleague from Brazil, Mario Latz. It's nice to see you. Unfortunately, it's not in face-to-face, not this time. And Mario Latz is responsible for, as director project, responsible for the project in Brazil. She is working in GIZ, and as I said, and to her, I would ask you to present the project and say a little bit about the outcomes, what we are doing, and what we are planning to to start in implementate in the Amazon region. Thank you, Mariolats, for coming, for joining us. And
Thank you, Rodrigo. Are you listening to me? Is it working?
yeah, very well.
Yes, okay, perfect. Well, good morning from Brazil. Good afternoon for Dubai. I would like to be there, but well, I am here in Brasilia. I would like to extend my greetings to Secretary Renata Bueno and Alejandro Crubinel, representing her, and also Mr. Dirk Meyer, representing the German Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, Mr. Marcelo Brito, representing the Interstate Consortium of the Legal Amazon, and Mr. Giovanni Marcos Rocha, representing the state of Rondonia. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to be here in Brazil today for the launch of this project. As Rodrigo said, we have been working, preparing the project for the last year. And now, well, we started a couple of months ago just initiating the project. And this initiative, as Alexandre and Mr. Meyer has mentioned already, is a pivotal initiative for integrating small producers in transparent and sustainable supply chains and differentiated markets and bringing economic and environmental benefits. I will now elaborate on how the project aims to achieve these goals. And I don't know if you are looking at the presentation right now because I cannot see it. Rodrigo, is it working? Can I go ahead? I only see myself in my morning face. Okay, thank you. Perfect. So you can go to the next slide, please, because I am going already just to say that the project, well, is funded by the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, the BMZ. And well, as you will already have said, it's a collaborative effort between GIZ and the Ministry of Agriculture of Brazil. And in the Ministry of Agriculture, this project is coordinated by the Secretariat of Innovation, Sustainable Development, Irrigation and Cooperativism. My direct colleague is Rodrigo and his team, and I am here the project director from GIZ, also with a very important and strong team from GIZ. The official documents for beginning the project were signed in April of this year, and the project is set to conclude in May 2026. The project aims to strengthen sustainability and transparency in agricultural supply chains in the Amazon biome, and the project has been structured around three key outputs. Output 1 for strengthening public policies for sustainability and transparency in the agricultural supply chains. Output 2 for implementing of some mechanisms in the pilot region, as pilot region, the territory of the state of Rondonia, I will say later on. And output 3 for communication and knowledge management for the broad adoption of sustainability and transparency approaches among agricultural producers. I will elaborate on these outputs. Next slide, please. Well, in output 1, first, the GIZ and MAPA teams have already selected the policies that will be enhanced by the project, as the more sustainable Amazonia plan, also the plan for adaptation to climate change and low carbon emission in agriculture, the ABC+, and also, for instance, the decarbonization of supply chain plan. So we have several policies that we will strengthen and support it. And in the coming months, different strategies, protocols, and digital solutions will be improved or also developed under these policies, regarding these policies to be applied to foster transparency and sustainability. Also, governance instances will be strengthened, and as Alexandre Crubinel mentioned before, the state management group of the ABC Plus plan is going to be the same governance instance of the more sustainable Amazonian plan. So the project is focused on giving support and implementing the action plan and strengthening this management group of the ABC plan at the state level in the state of Rondônia. Of course, a very important part of this output also is the integration of approaches to strengthen gender equity in the mentioned policies. So this is going to be the output one. Output two is focused on the pilot region. The teams GIZ Mapa has already chosen the territory of Madeira Mamoré in the state of Rondônia as the pilot region. So now a detailed diagnosis and baseline study is going to be developed to identify the target audience that will be small farmers, but specifically which are the direct target audience in this territory, and also to see which are their specific needs. So we will follow an integrated landscape approach, fostering partnerships between public, private, and civil society stakeholders, and also local producer organizations and associations. And once done this, the project will encourage the adoption of good agricultural practices, establish also demonstration units and pilots on sustainability and pilots on transparency. The project will promote also financial instruments. We are aware of the importance of the involvement of the private sector, and well, as a project, as a cooperation project, resources are limited, so we need to engage also the private sector and develop also and also take to the territory several financial instruments. And another example of measures that will be implemented, because in this region it is very important also to implement restoration measures of degraded areas. So restoration is going to be an important part of the project in the territory. And of course, strengthening the access and strengthening technical assistance. Again, now at the local level, strengthening women and the youth in the territory will be a key strategy. And the next slide is the output three. Output three is focused in developing studies and analysis and strengthening platforms to spread over the experiences and knowledge on sustainability and transparency, raising awareness about the good experiences and what we are developing in the state of Rondônia, spreading over all other states of the legal Amazon is a very important measure also in the project, and also economic efficiency studies and exchanges. So this is the focus of the output three. Well, as a summary of what has already been explained in the next slide, just a resume, the project will develop a multi-level approach at the national, the territorial, and the sectoral level. So we will establish different dialogues along all the supply chain with a focus on the beef and dairy supply chains. These are the focal supply chains of the project in the territory of Madeira Mamoré. And in doing so, the project contributes to Brazil's commitments to international climate conventions and supports the implementation of crucial frameworks like the Forest Code, the More Sustainable Amazon Plan, and also the Plan for Adaptation to Climate Change and Low Carbon Emission. In the next slide, you can see the project timeline in 2023. So the official agreement, as I mentioned, were signed in April of this year. We went to the region in October of this year, and now we are preparing, it is almost done. We are going to launch the elaboration of a baseline and diagnosis study to better know the target public of our project. Well, in conclusion, this project represents a significant step towards a more transparent and sustainable future for Amazonian supply chains. The project will contribute to the generation of economic benefits for family farmers, the recovery of degraded areas, and the reduction of deforestation pressure. And well, I hope we will all be together in the near future, showing the results achieved by the project, and in that time, telling real stories and showing real stories about its impacts. Thank you very much, and I am here if you have any further question with you.
We all invited to know the territory, the region. I think it's very interesting to go to the Amazon and know the Amazon for real. And I think it's an opportunity to know and to get know with one project that is trying to do a difference in the Amazon. So you are invited. So let's continue with our panelists. Now I'd like to ask to my colleague Marcelo Brito. He is Secretary Executive for the consortium of the states to the sustainable development to the Amazon, and how can we foster a constructive dialogue between subnational states and the federal union to enhance Brazil's stance on sustainability and sustainable development, and how we can work together to have a real impact in the quality of life of the people that live in the Amazon. I think we must remember the people that live there, and I think all the projects and all the things that we are trying to do is to have an impact on them. But how we can do that for real?
Thank you, Rodrigo. Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. Very sorry, I'm struggling bad against two things here: heat and jet lag. But I will survive. I will try hard. But anyway, thanks a lot. It's a pleasure to be here with such a good people in this panel. All partners. We are here in ICA, a good partner of the consortium, GIC, PMC, MAPA. So I am among friends. Thank you very much. When we talk about the Amazon, it's always complicated because it's too big. It's too far away, and it's too complex. Yeah. And it's not a single place. It's not a single region. When I started to work with Amazon, we had two Amazons. We used to say that we had two. Now we have five. Scientifically speaking, okay? So if you talk with people locally that are studying, we have the degraded Amazon, which is the east part of the Amazon, where over 74% of the forests are gone in the past 523 years. So we cannot call that area as a forest. Okay, that's a place that deserves and needs a specific type of development. The second Amazon, it's in the way to be degraded. It's where we have today the main new deforestation. It's where occur bad situation of land grabbing. And unfortunately, this is well related and well notified by the federal police today, linked with organized crime. We had an exposition yesterday, we had a panel yesterday on the latest report on organized crime in the Amazon, and it's alarming. It's alarming what's going on there. So the Amazon, this part of the Amazon became like a money laundering center, and it's a drug corridors from our Latin friends, partners, and countries in a way to Europe and to US and to Asia. The third Amazon is the one where we still have the forest, heavy forest, deep forest, beautiful, hot, humid. I hope it's still like that. I hope we can conserve like that. But in order to conserve that forest as it is, we have to tackle the issues with the first two Amazon. The fourth one is the Amazon of the small cities around the area. So we're talking about a place the size of Europe with 28 million people inside. But out of these 28 million people, most of it are living in the big cities. But we have those villages all around the Amazon where those guys have no internet connection. Can you imagine living in a place today where we don't have internet connection? So, no connection means no access to banks, to financial service, to health service, to the good education, and so on. And the last one is big cities, the Amazon of the big cities. Belém, Manaus, Santarém. If you go to Belém today and you go around Belém, we have neighborhoods that we call city deserts. Places where you have 50, 60, 70,000 people living there, and you cannot find a single tree in those areas. It's a desert. So I like to introduce my talk saying that because there are different things to tackle and there is different ways to deal with. Here we're talking about agriculture. We have about 1 million small farmers in the Amazon region, in the Brazilian Amazon region. 1 million small farmers. Just to grab one example of that, let's talk about the cocoa producers. About 35,000 cocoa producers. 90% of them never had access to any kind of finance. We're not talking about financial incentives to keep the forest up, to fight climate change. We're talking about the very basic financing system in order to improve yields. Improve yields, you have a better return. With better return, you have a better living standard. So, well, how are we going to tackle all these issues of deforestation, fight climate change, if we don't take care of those people who are there? So in order to improve the Amazon in overall, we have to understand that at the same time we want to preserve the forest, we need to improve agriculture. We cannot talk about preserve Amazon without talking about cattle herd in Amazon. Only in the state of Pará, we have 26 million cattle herds. This is 1/3 of the herd in the United States, in only one state. So, okay, we need to trace them. We need a full traceability system for the livestock in the area. But there is already a second question. As long as you reach full traceability, what is coming after it? What is beyond traceability? Industry, production, market access. Okay, we need to improve the area. We need development. So what is there? What is there? So now we are facing these two words. One understands that we have to fight climate change because climate change is affecting agriculture, it's affecting livestock, it's affecting our lives. At the same time, we have those peoples that never had access to anything, and they need access for everything, that we have to find a way to improve their lives. Philanthropy is just part of the process. We need philanthropy to start to the very beginning, to the let's say the first stage infrastructure, like electricity, like a road to reach there. So we can use philanthropy for that. After that, we need venture capital. We need investment to transform. The good thing about this COP28, because we're not talking only about climate change, we are starting to talk about the measurement of scarcity. So this is the point that we are talking here. It's how afraid we are of scarcity. Because we all know that in 20 years' time, the cost of water will be higher, the cost of electric power will be higher, the cost of land, soil will be higher, the cost of food production will be higher. So scarcity is just ahead of us. How do we tackle scarcity? Collaboration is the only thing we can do. That's what we're doing in this room. Collaboration, partners from Germany,
Absolutely, yes.
partners from other places in the world, partners from the government, partners from the private sector. Each of us doing whatever we have to do. Collaboration is the only thing that we have in our hands to change the Amazon, to keep the Amazon as it is right now. We still have 79% of the forest there. Not everything untouched, but we still have a pretty good size of forest there. But to keep as it is, we need to unite our forces and do different from what we have done in the past 50 years. Did not work. Did not work at all. The amount of poverty and misery and hunger that we see in the Amazon today, it's in a level that should shame every Brazilian, every one of us. We could never accept that we have a country, friend, that can live in that condition. Despite all of this, I am optimist. I am optimist because we are open a highway that start with the Brazil leading the G20, starting this month. In 2 years, little more of 2 years ahead of us, we have the COP of Brazil in the Amazon, the COP of Amazon in Belém. And it's when we're going to start the new decade agenda. We're going to end the Paris agenda, and we're going to open the Amazon agenda. Which agenda is this, ladies and gentlemen? Let's build one that can save us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Marcelo Brito. It was an inspiring speech, and I agree with almost everything, and thank you very much. And as Marcelo Brito said, we have here one example of project, a cooperation project. It's a partnership, and I think it's impossible to think about the future of the Amazon without partnership with countries and states and the private sector as well. So I think partnership is essential, and we have to invest more and take more time trying to make that kind of bridge. And I think Belém would be a very good opportunity for that. And I reinforce my invitation. I hope to see all of you in Belém, in the Amazon, in the COP30. So let's go on for the last panelist. Now I hope for the understand of all of you, because I have a second role. Besides trying to be understood by you, now I will translate my colleague Giovanni. So it's a little bit harder. So I will try my best here. Thank you, Giovanni, for accepting the invitation. And for you, I have one question. It's like I think I keep the worst one, the trickiest one, for the last. So how can the state and the federal public policies work together to promote the development model that enhance the climate adaptation of agri-food system and improve the quality of life of the population in that region that we are working on this project? So, quer que eu fale, gente?
Sim.
Como a gente vai... It's not the easiest one because we now
Rápido.
talking about the reality, so it's the most difficult one for me. So, como nossa parceria como Estado e governo federal, como União, pode contribuir de fato para a melhoria da sustentabilidade dos processos produtivos dos sistemas agroalimentares e como que a gente vai impactar de verdade essa população, essas pessoas que estão vivendo nessa região piloto da Amazônia que a gente está trabalhando. So,
Bom, boa tarde a todos, né? Primeiramente agradecer a participação aqui nesse painel, um projeto muito desafiador, né? Dentro da proposta que ele está colocando, na região em que ele está sendo implementado, né? Mas primeiramente gostaria de agradecer a todos pelo convite. Estou aqui porque sou o representante,
so
ou sim,
let's
devagar.
big part because it's too much thing to translate. I will try to resume that, but firstly, thank you very much for all of you. Thank you for accepting our invitation. And this is a very challenging answer, and because we talking about a project that is trying to connect some public policies in that region. So.
Sou responsável pela política de regularização ambiental de imóveis rurais em Rondônia.
So yeah, he is responsible for the environmental policy to the rural farmers in the Amazon region. Is our environmental law about how the farmers must to respect the environment.
Por isso estou perdendo os cabelos antes de ficar branco, né?
He's getting bald before.
Mas de antemão agradecer também o apoio que a GIZ é uma grande apoiadora da política de regularização ambiental em Rondônia.
Yeah, and he would like to say thank you for GIZ because he's a great and important partner to the environmental policy in the Amazon region.
E assim, o estado de Rondônia, ele tem buscado diversas alternativas para o fortalecimento da política de regularização ambiental junto ao programa de regularização ambiental PRA.
So the state of Rondônia is looking for different projects and effort to allocate in that policy and trying to make the regulation of the farmers in that region.
Então, através da Secretaria de Estado de Desenvolvimento Ambiental, a SEDAM-RO, direcionamos os recursos, né, próprios e captamos recursos também, né, para poder viabilizar a produção sustentável no estado.
Through the State Secretariat for Environmental Development, they allocate their own budget and resource and trying to seek external funding to implement the policy in the state.
Buscando avançar, né, na regularidade ambiental dos imóveis rurais.
Trying to overcome this challenge of the environmental issue to the farmers in the region.
Então, com isso, nós conseguimos observar uma convergência de ações, né, conjuntas do projeto, né, Transparência e Sustentabilidade nas Cadeias Produtivas da Amazônia, junto com as ações que o Estado executa.
So it was clear to align between the project and all the actions that they are doing in the state.
E dentro dessas ações que o Estado tem desempenhado, o cadastro ambiental rural é uma ferramenta muito importante.
One of the state's initiatives involves make to the Crover Legal Reserve and implement the, how can I say that, but the, how can I translate cadastro ambiental rural, but the
Registram?
it's a
Registram?
yeah a register of all the farmers that they must to to comply. So not comply to Rural Environmental Register. Thank you very much for your help.
Para explicar, né?
Yeah, it's not easy.
Que é um registro público de informações ambientais do imóvel rural.
Yeah, it is a public register with information of the farms in the farmers.
Onde se identifica os ativos e os passivos de uma propriedade rural com as informações aprovadas pelo órgão ambiental.
So with this register, we can identify if the farm is respecting or not the law and the regulation to the environmental law.
Então nós investimos na aprovação dos cadastros, né, para identificação dos passivos, viabilizando a regularização ambiental dessas propriedades.
So Rondônia is making effort to advance in the validation of the Rural Environmental Register, the CAR, and support to reduction in the analysis. Yeah.
Isso com recursos próprios do Estado, bem como também com direcionamento de recursos de projetos, com recursos externos.
For this, they are using the budget of the state, but also some funds that are support them in that mission.
Dentro dessa perspectiva, nós também atuamos com parcerias e acordos de cooperação com o órgão de assistência técnica e extensão rural do Estado.
Wow.
Parceria com o órgão.
Yeah, they work in partnership and cooperation with the Extension Rural Agency of the state that support the producers in this mission.
Então, direcionando recursos para estruturação, né, do órgão de assistência técnica.
For this, they have to enhance the agency because they are we have to invest in the public policy as part of this process.
Onde ele apoia com os projetos de recuperação das áreas.
And this agency will implement the project of the recovery of these areas on the field.
Pois é importante a inclusão da extensão rural dentro do processo de sustentabilidade do imóvel.
Yeah, because the rural extension is very important in this process of the regulation of the farmers, and we are talking about just like trying to explain better. We trying to improve the production and the sustainability at the same time. So we need the support from the rural agencies as well.
Nesse contexto também é importante o apoio de diversos parceiros não governamentais, né, que apoiam também ações de recuperação de áreas degradadas em propriedades rurais.
Yeah, in this context, it's very important as well the partnership with other sectors as NGOs. They work on the field to recover degraded areas and the farmers.
Assim como o projeto que apoia, né, a transparência e sustentabilidade, que é isso que traz a regularização ambiental do imóvel rural.
Like this project that was presented, that trying to enhance the transparency and the sustainability of the rural production, because it's responsible to is part of this process regulation of the farm.
Cabe salientar que essa é uma agenda desafiadora.
This is a very challenging agenda.
Trazer o produtor para a regularidade.
Bring the producers with us to the comfortability, to the regulation.
E algo que o Marcelo falou, né, que eu entendi, ficou bem frisado, a questão da necessidade de parcerias.
And mainly the necessity of partnership and cooperation.
E cooperação de todas as partes, sejam governamentais, não governamentais, do setor privado.
Cooperation between all the sectors, the private sector, governmental sector, and the others as well, NGOs.
E em Rondônia nós estamos vivendo um momento muito importante, onde existe um fortalecimento dessas parcerias em busca da sustentabilidade do imóvel rural.
There's a very special moment in Rondônia State because this partnership is stronger and we have a good example in that place.
E o desafio maior é convencer o produtor a ele aderir a esse programa, pois a transparência ela se dá através da regularização ambiental.
The biggest challenge is to convince the producers to be part of this process because the transparency will be made by the regulation, the environmental regulation.
Dentro desse contexto, é importante salientar que o imóvel regularizado ambientalmente,
in this context, it's important to say that this farm that is regulated,
ele tem uma facilidade de acesso a crédito rural,
has more is easier to access the credit, the
e há
financial
melhores
support,
mercados para comercialização dos seus produtos.
and best market to sell their products.
Então, o mercado ele tem exigido cada vez mais a transparência e a sustentabilidade da propriedade.
So the transparency and the sustainability is required by the market. And
E é necessário um trabalho contínuo junto com o produtor rural para que ele entenda que o desenvolvimento ambiental da propriedade
so we need to keep working with the producers in order to understand
que a proteção da vegetação, das áreas de preservação permanente e reserva legal,
that the protection of the legal reserve and the protected areas
ele traz benefícios que vão viabilizar a sustentabilidade da propriedade rural.
will bring benefits to the farm. So
Isso associado a cadeias produtivas que geram renda, mas que também promovam a biodiversidade.
So it's aligned with supply chains that improve the quality of life and the financial of the families, but also sustainability.
Onde dentro da proposta de recuperação das áreas necessárias do imóvel, pode se propor a utilização de sistemas agroflorestais,
Where the areas that we can work on can be worked using agroforest systems
como um fator de geração de renda adicional à propriedade,
as a way to make more money in the field, in the farm.
de renda,
Yeah.
geração de renda, melhoria da geração de renda,
Yeah, the income, improve the income.
e também, né, viabilizando a possibilidade dele estar recuperando as suas áreas
At the same time, trying to recover their areas, the degraded areas.
A região piloto do projeto
The pilot region
é uma área com grande produção de leite
is a region with huge milk production
dentro do estado de Rondônia.
in the state of Rondônia.
Então, nós temos produtores que precisam entender o processo, porque normalmente o produtor de leite, seja de gado, de bovinos, eles têm uma dificuldade maior de trabalharem com SAFs, com
Okay,
serviços de sistemas agroflorestais.
especially because livestock producers they have some difficulties to rely on agroforest system and understand how important this system can be for the farm.
E é também situado numa região que sofre muita pressão por desmatamento.
And this is a region with a huge pressure for deforestation.
Então, a iniciativa do projeto nessa região também é extremamente importante nesse processo de conscientização e sensibilização junto aos produtores.
So this project has a special role in how to sensibilize or to make the producer understand the importance of the sustainability.
Fazendo com que ele produza, então, uma cadeia sustentável, consiga ter o acesso a crédito e a venda de produtos com melhores valores no mercado.
So with this, the producer can access the funds, the credit, and access a better market as well.
Hoje, os frigoríficos, né, eles já solicitam... vou fechar. Hoje, os frigoríficos eles já exigem, né, que o imóvel não tenha desmatamento para aquisição dos seus produtos.
Yeah. Nowadays, the slaughterhouse already requires that we don't have deforestation on the farm to buy the cow and the livestock.
E isso é algo que está ampliando para outros setores.
Yeah, and this is a tendency that we can see in the other sectors, in the other value chains as well.
Então, com isso, o projeto ele vem somar com ações que o Estado vem desenvolvendo e nós gostamos, né, pretendemos trabalhar juntamente com o projeto e com outros parceiros que também vêm auxiliando na promoção da regularização ambiental dos imóveis rurais.
So this project is aligned with the state policy, and so we can work together in partnership, and other partners are welcome in this process as well.
Obrigado.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Giovanni. It was very difficult. So my respect for the real translators, because it's not easy. So it was our panel, as we said, enforce the need of cooperation and partnership. This project is one initiative of a long-term partnership between German government and Brazilian government, but we need to do more, and we need to do it in partnership. So thank you very much, all of you. Thank you for the interest in get to know what this project is. And as I said, I hope to see all in Belém in the COP30. So if someone have a question, we have less than 1 minute, but so if no one have after my my very polite way to ask you, I would like to say thank you again, and I hope to see you all soon.